almost enough information in this video that I could have made 3 separate videos on this. We have Pollo tweeting out that he's looking for a new trio, a huge update that vaulted the minigun, why we have no FNCS next season, and an entire Evo Cup as well. Let's just say we have a lot to talk about in today's video. Real quick before the video starts though, please subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, as we are trying to update all of you guys on everything to do with Fortnite competitive as soon as we possibly can. Just go K-Dog in the Fortnite item shop. If you guys want to support me even more, it's the best way to support me, and it really does help me out a lot more than you guys really think. Follow me on my Twitch, link in the description down below, because we're going to start doing so many different fun things with viewers. I'm not trying to make this intro too long though, because we have so much to talk about, so let's just get straight into it. All right, so we have to start off by talking about the Pollo situation, and I'm not gonna lie, it is a little bit dumb, but I'm gonna try to break this down to you guys as best as I can. So basically, Peterbot did not inform anybody that he was playing with Ritual until I'm pretty sure like 5 a.m. this morning. So Ajerss, Acorn, all of them didn't even know if they were going to be playing with Pollo today or if they were going to be playing with Ritual today. And then in the middle of all of this, Acorn was also going to Canada back home for a little bit as well, so he was not even going to be able to play the Evo Cup today, and Pollo apparently did not know about that. And then since Ajerss didn't even know who he was playing with, and since Acorn couldn't even play in the first place, he ended up just sleeping through the entire thing. So Pollo kind of just thought that all of that was just super immature and there was really no communication from them, so he tweeted out looking for trio for all of the future cash cups. So a little bit of a summary of all that is Pollo is basically saying he's looking for a trio just because of all of the bad communication and misunderstanding from his new trio. But this is also like halfly Peterbot's fault, since he didn't even tell anybody he was playing with Ritual until I'm pretty sure the day of the Evo Cup. What this actually means for who these guys are going to be playing with literally for tomorrow for the divisional cups, I have absolutely no clue yet. I'm assuming that these guys are probably all just going to make friends with each other again, and then most likely it is still going to be Pollo, Acorn, and Ajerss, and then Ritual, Cole, and Peterbot will still play, since they did literally play the Evo Cup today. But the entire trio of Acorn, Ajerss, and Pollo did not play a single game in this divisional cups together, or in general at all. Is there a chance that Pollo goes to a different trio? 100%. Do I think it's gonna happen? As of right now, with these Fortnite pros, I just have no clue. Acorn and Ritual are still very firm on their stance of not wanting to sign the disband forms either, so if you're thinking, oh, this is the perfect chance for them to just all split up, all of them disband, none of them want to play together anyways. But Acorn and Ritual and even Ajerss are still all very firm on not wanting to just let Peterbot do whatever he wants, and obviously Ritual wants to play with Peterbot, so he's not going to sign the form. Basically what I'm trying to say is we're just going to have to wait until tomorrow to really see what these players are going to do. We still had a whole Evo Cup though for both NA and EU, and a huge update with so many different repercussions, so let's get into all of that as well. Now in NA, in first place, we had the trio of Edgy, Scare, and Chance on 355 points. These guys were also able to win 4 out of their 7 matches. I think this is a brand new trio, so huge shout out to these guys. Second place is Noxy, Pars, and Pump. Third was actually an EU trio of Pink, Nebs, and Kiro. Fourth is Cole. Fifth is Leap. Sixth is Sound. Seventh is Clicks, Yamzo, and Higgs. Eighth is Taki, Eshu, and Vert. Ninth is Aviv, Skittles, and Chimp. And then rounding out the top 10 is the trio that got back together of Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual. Now some other big names that were able to qualify is like 13th place of Muzz, Curly, and Rise. 17th place of Kanada, G Money, and Osid. Ping, Malibuka, and Panzer were able to qual. Rapid, Yapko, and Bullets. Vidil, Cooper, and Sphinx. A lot of big names are honestly able to make it. There was only a couple of big name trios that didn't make it, like 38th place of Booga, Threats, and Craze. And then Bucky's trio finished in 123rd, and if you're wondering who he was playing with Okus and King on Expo. We also saw some potential stream sniping accusations come from Bucky pointed at Booga, and I mean stream sniping is just such a thing that is so hard to prove, so I'm not going to get too much into that, but neither of their trios were able to qualify at the end of the day. I guess we will see how the actual divisional cups go for them now. Now in the finals, back like they never left, it was the trio of Ritual, Cold, and Peterbot finishing in first place, being able to win 2 out of their 3 games, finishing with the second most elims. If you're wondering why they only played 3 games today, they unfortunately were not able to load into game 1 because Cold was AFK and like Ritual wasn't even in his lobby, so the typical Peterbot trolling fashion. But their match history today was still just absolutely disgusting stuff from Peterbot that we would probably expect, like a 14 elimination win in game 1, a 16 elimination win in game 2, and then a 9 elimination 12th to finish off the tournament. If anybody had any doubt that these guys' vibes weren't going to work too well together, or that they're going to be off to a slow start, they are already proving a lot of those rumors wrong, and they do look like they are just absolutely dominating. Second place was Muzz, Curly, and Rise. They were able to win the very final game today, getting a 15 elimination win while placing second place twice and finishing with the most elims of 44. This was a super impressive Evo Cup from them all around. They got a 10 elimination second, 4 elimination 10th, 15 elimination second, then a 15 elimination win. Super fun performance that these guys put on. I am very excited to see these guys in the divisional cups as well. Third place is Kanata, G Money, and OSID. They were able to win game 1 today with a 9 elimination win, and they were the last winners of the Evo Cup. Now, if you're curious on how the actual leaderboard of Evo Cups works, it goes by the amount of elims that the trios got from 4th all the way down to 33rd place. So the trio with the most amount of elims in 4th place was Bolts, Rapid, and Yapko. They finished with 28 total elims. 5th was Zavi. 6th was actually Clicks, Higgs, and Yamzo. And this is honestly super impressive stuff for them because they were contested by Victor V off spawn. I think the fight honestly ended up going like even, but a lot of the times they're also just getting cleaned up off spawn as well. It wasn't necessarily the best look for Clicks' trio, I'm not gonna lie. We even got to see Ajerss talk about how he wants to potentially contest Clicks with Pollo and Acorn. So I think my theory from earlier was correct, that Pollo, Acorn, and Ajerss are just gonna get back together after they settle up some of their differences. But Clicks' trio was still able to get something really impressive, a 20 elimination second in the very final game. So I don't just want to act like everything went catastrophically wrong for this trio or anything, but I think Ajerss and Pollo can really see that potentially Clicks might not be the most strong off spawn team, and this could spell news for disaster for Clicks in the future if an already land qualified team, the trio that just won grand finals, wants their drop spot. 7th was Vidil, Cooper, and Sphinx. 8th was Taki. 9th was Cole, and then rounding out the top 10 was Day. I'm not trying to just like sit up here and yap about the Evo Cup all day though, so let's actually move on to the brand new update that we saw, and then the EU tournament as well. So if you guys didn't know, yes, this morning there was an update, and from Hypex himself, he said Fortnite Chapter 6 Season 3 is only expected to be 35 total days, which will last from May 2nd to June 8th. And if you guys are wondering why this is most likely going to be because Chapter 6 Season 3 is probably going to be a fully sponsored like Star Wars season, a lot of people are assuming, and it's just going to be like one big like collab season, and this is probably going to be one of the shortest seasons in Fortnite history. 35 days is not that long at all. If you want to put that into perspective, this season actually started on February 21st, so that would basically almost mean that this season would pretty much be over today already, and we would already be going on to the next season, which my current opinions on this right now, I don't know how much of a like bad thing this necessarily is. If you guys are a little bit confused on what this actually means and why there is no FNCS, it is because this season's FNCS actually ends on April 27th, and then the next one starts on July 16th. So that means we are going to go 2.5 whole months with no FNCS at all, and an entire Fortnite season without one as well. This honestly raises a lot of questions for me on whether or not we are still even going to have cash cups. If I just had to make an assumption right now, I would assume that we will. I don't think Fortnite can go a whole like 2.5 months from one FNCS to the next with no cash cups, and even just a whole season specifically in general with no cash cups. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we saw a little bit of a rework to how the cash cups work for this month little like trial season, and they just try a couple of different things out and see if people like them more, because I think slowly over time now we are seeing more people start to complain about the 2-day open qualifying format, and a lot of people are kind of just saying it is a little bit too much. So I hope they don't just leave competitive players completely in the dust for their sponsored season, and they still try to show us some love and give us at least some tournament. Current loot pool update that we got with this update as well. I'm curious your guys' opinion though on the no FNCS thing, so please let me know in the comment section down below. But starting off with, let's talk about the brand new loot pool update. So if you guys were curious about this and worried about it like I was, the Hollow AR and Sentinel Pump are still in the game. I know we all saw those leaks from Hypex and Sheena and all the leakers that the Sentinel Pump and Hollow AR were both going to get removed in this next update, but so far they are still in the game, and I really hope that it stays like this. I have already very clearly expressed my, I guess you could say, want for these weapons to still stay in the game. I feel like they're just such fun weapons to watch pros use, and even if you are just a casual player yourself that plays the game for some fun, these weapons are also just so fun to use. The big one though, the main one, is that the Brutus's minigun is now officially out of competitive. Now what this actually means for the meta, if I'm just being honest, the Brutus's minigun wasn't as overpowered as I thought it was actually going to be. When we saw it in the OG season, it was pretty much the difference between you winning the game or not, but I don't know if people have just found a way to counter counter it now, or if it just isn't as strong anymore. If you think that this nerfs trios like Clix's trio, he was really only getting the minigun like 2 out of the 6 games max most of the time because he just wasn't able to land on it. I think this also does take out the even like potential factor of Peterbot landing on Clix, because the only reason why he was really going to go there in the first place was for the minigun, but he still has his mythic pump next to Crime City at the train, and they still have a pretty decent Volt that I just don't think they're really going to leave that to go to Lone Wolf Lair now. On EU, we got to see a very dominant performance from a couple of different trios, and also some teams that surprisingly were not able to qualify. First place though in the opens was Art Skill Podesai and X-Sweeze on 286. Second place was Robin, Cheatin, and Trexer on 284. Third was Chino. Fourth was Focus, Trulex, and Noah Riley, a potential brand new trio. And I just had to get some confirmation, and I think this is an official brand new trio, so huge shout out to these guys. Fifth place is Fido. Sixth is Noms. Seventh is Vico, Vino, and Flixie on 252. Eighth was Vexy. Ninth was Howley, and then rounding out the top 10 was Pink. Of course though, we do got a lot of other big names like Pixstar Mendemus in 11th, iDrop Sky and Scroll in 15th, Vania, Pixie, and Marius in 20th, Chap Shark and Kiduo, these guys decided to stay together and they finished in 21st, Seti Hari and Cammy in 25th, Horace Tayson and Chicho in 30th, and those were all of the big names that were able to qualify today. So that means that we did also have some very big name and some very good trios not be able to qualify as well, like 52nd place of Margot, Prism, and Casper, 53rd place of Pingwax and Malibuka, and then one that honestly really surprised me was 211th place of Swizzy, Queasy, and Murstache. These guys only got 88 total points in 7 games today. They didn't have a single game inside of the top 10. I still honestly wouldn't be super worried about this trio though. It is just an Evo Cup at the end of the day. I am glad that Murstache is just back on this trio now, and I am very excited to see what they do in the Division 1 Cash Cups this week. Let's actually move on to how the finals went now. Now, week after week, we're continuing to be getting proved that boring just works. The trio of Seti, Hari, and Cammy out of Bruno Boxcars have been putting up some of the most impressive performances that I feel like have just not been getting talked about enough this season. I look, you want to do a VOD review on these guys for my React channel, so let me know in the comment section down below if that is something you'd be interested in seeing, because I know everybody doesn't have Peterbot level mechs, and these guys' wins today were a 6 and 8 elimination win out of a very mid-tier drop spot, and they have been placing 5th, 3rd, and 5th, I'm pretty sure, in the 3 weeks of Divisional Cup finals. This is a super good trio that I know is just not getting enough respect, because everybody knows that there is still the factor that they could just get contested in grand finals and basically their entire tournament is over. I just really hope these guys are able to stay uncontested for the entire season, because there is some potential that they could be a top 5, maybe even a top 3 trio in grands. I just feel like top 3 might be pushing it a little bit because they just really don't get any elims at all. They finished the tournament with only 15 total elims, which wasn't even top 10 for most elims in this tournament. Second place though, a team that seems to always be able to get a win in the eval cups of iDrop Sky and Scroll. They were able to win the very final game, getting an 11 elimination win, and then the last team to get a win, winning game 2 today, was Robin, Cheatin, and Trexer, getting a 7 elimination win. The rest of the top 10 though, getting 37 elims in this tournament, the most out of anybody, was Chap, Shark, and Kidua. These guys are slowly just showing their potential over time. I think we do kind of know that they just are insane W keyers. This trio was also fighting Tayson, Hriss, and Chicho for the first time today. Chap tweeted out that they ended up going 3-1 off spawn against them, which was honestly exactly what I predicted. I don't really know why Tayson, Chicho, and Hriss are even trying to contest a trio that has 2 of the 3 best fighters in arguably the entire world. But at the same time, I do kind of respect Tayson, because like Chap, Shark, and Kiduo, I don't even think they pulled off a top 10 with uncontested Crime City last week, so at least try to put up a little bit of a fight. But I think Shark's trio is going to win that fight more often than not. 5th place was Vico, Vino, and Flixie. They finished with 30 total elims, were able to get a 2nd and a 5th place today with 14 elims, so a pretty solid tournament all around for them once again. 6th place was Pixstar Mendemus, and they finished 2nd place back-to-back games with 8 and 9 elims, so the Polish goats still seem to be performing super well under pressure, just so close to being able to win multiple games today. 7th was Vania, Pixie, and Marius. They only had 1 game inside the top 10. 8th was Andalex, Skyjump, and Momsy. 9th was Teeny, Skavi, and Mappy. Potentially, I think, another brand new trio. They were able to get a 10 elimination 2nd, and then rounding out the top 10 was Noah Riley, Trulex, and Focus. Other than that though, a pretty long video from today. Let me know your guys' thoughts on everything, including the weapon changes. If you guys like that there is going to be no FNCS for potentially 3 months, and so much more in the comment section down below. Please subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, as once again, we try to upload frequent competitive content on the channel week after week. Just go K-Dog in the Fortnite item shop if you guys want to support me even more. YouTube says there's already one of these two videos up on the screen right now, so go check them out if you guys haven't already. Follow my Twitch and the React channel, link to the description down below. Thank God for another day, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.